Thank you very much for having me speak at this very important event. It's important for me personally, as I've just bought my first boat, a 20-foot Norfolk Gypsy sloop, having spent a lifetime in sailing in the sea, but also importantly, 23 years working in sustainability. And my interest is how sustainability pressures are a driver for innovation and commercial success, and in particular, how technology can unlock new ways of working and new business models. Over the next 10 minutes, I want to do three things. Firstly, set the context. Why is this important and how are leaders responding? Secondly, I want to give you three areas that I think you should prioritize. And then finally, I want to talk about the immediate opportunity for you. Now, climate change will be sudden and cataclysmic. These are strong words. And in fact, they're a quote from the chief risk officer at Zurich Insurance. And addressing climate change is just one of the 17 major UN Sustainable Development Goals that we are collectively committed to delivering by 2030. And if we don't deliver, we put ourselves on a very dangerous trajectory for humanity and for the quality of life that all of us aspire to have. Now, today, based on work that Accenture's done surveying CEOs for the United Nations Global Compact, only 21% of CEOs feel that businesses are currently playing the role that they should be in delivery of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And unfortunately, we're not on track to deliver any of those goals, and reaching them is even harder now post the corona pandemic. If we just look at climate, today we're on track for a 250% increase in greenhouse gas emissions from shipping by 2050 if no action is taken. And if we look at a price on carbon, 34% of the industry's EBITDA is at risk. And that's just assuming today's price of $40 per ton. Most expect the price to be substantially higher than that in the coming decade. Now, Accenture's CEO, Julie Sweet, has said that every business will need to be a sustainable business by 2025. And we're going to see quite dramatic reshaping of industries over the coming 5 to 10 years as we try to address those sustainable development goals. And my view is this is your chance in the shipping industry to step up and be part of that very important change. Now, the good news is many in your industry are already stepping up to take bold, ambitious action and to scale the solutions that are needed. And of course, this will be supported by actors across the value chain, cross-industry collaboration, policy, advances in technologies. We see companies like Maersk and Shell taking amazing leadership. Maersk, for example, will operate the world's first carbon neutral liner vessel by 2023, 7 years ahead of schedule. And Shell is doing incredible things in their investments in hydrogen and in fuel cells to decarbonize shipping. And we're also seeing amazing leadership across the value chain. So, for example, Unilever has announced in June of last year that it will reach net zero emissions from all of its products by 2039. And that's a clear demand signal that cargo owners will need to help drive that reduction in their part in the carbon emissions of Unilever's supply chains. But that signal will also help to support your commercial case for investment in zero emission shipping. IKEA is another great example. They've committed to being climate positive by 2030, targeting transportation as an area to improve. Now, if we go on to the areas that I think you as a shipping industry should prioritize, I promise you three areas that I think that you should focus on. The first is net zero, and you will see over the coming months, businesses around the world committing to net zero. They will set science-based targets and they will commit to driving out carbon emissions across their value chains. They will join what's called the race to zero in the run-up to the major climate conference that we'll see in Glasgow in November. And of course, this isn't just about your own operations. We know that over 40% of CEOs are already looking into decarbonisation strategies across their supply chains. And what's called Scope 3 emissions, which are across the value chain, are as important and will mean greater scrutiny on your footprint in shipping from those other stakeholders in your value chains. Secondly, I want you to focus on being trusted. Trust is about being transparent in your responsibilities. It's about how risks are being managed, especially social risks, and being predictable in how you operate. Social risks in particular, such as health and safety, anti-corruption and human rights, not just in your own operations, which I know you already take extremely seriously, but in the full value chain. And in particular, when we see advances in technology, these responsibilities are becoming much, much more visible and extend up through your procurement and your sourcing, but also down to end of life, for example, in shipbreaking. And finally, the third priority is about building more circular value chains. We're going to move from today's make, ship, use, dispose model to a more circular value chain where we keep resources in productivity beyond end of life, and we drive more productive value from the materials and assets we use, of course, reducing downtime, reducing wastes, and ultimately cutting costs. And it's about designing for end of life, designing for resource recovery, especially ship recycling. It's about looking at more bio-based materials, lightweighting of materials to improve fuel efficiency, and of course, playing your role in industry collaborations like industrial clusters, which are all part of building a more circular economy. Now, finally, on the opportunity of getting it right, we think the opportunity here is substantial for the shipping industry. If you haven't got a strategy, if you're not setting stretching targets and you haven't got a plan, you need one now. Whatever that strategy is, we think it will almost certainly include three immediate areas of opportunity. Firstly, innovation in ship design, equipment and fuels. And this is particularly important in areas like hydrogen, in biofuels, and those bridging technologies that will help us move to low carbon or zero carbon fuels. But it's also about driving improvements in ship design to improve efficiency. Secondly, we think there's an opportunity in driving more efficient port and shipping operations. So improving visibility of your emissions, your fuel consumption, your resources and material usage to drive efficiency, and of course, safety in port and on the high seas. And technology will be a key enabler, the combination of big data, of analytics, of artificial intelligence and remote sensing to help you identify where there are opportunities to drive those efficiencies. And then finally, don't do this on your own. There is a key opportunity to do this in collaboration and through partnerships. And there are many organizations, many partners, many industry players working on this agenda who want to work with you. For example, the Getting to Zero Coalition is a powerful alliance of more than 120 companies within the maritime, the energy and infrastructure and finance sectors, supported by governments and NGOs to help work with you. And if you're not involved in these industry coalitions, you need to be. So in conclusion, rather than seeing the Sustainable Development Goals as a barrier or a challenge, we think they offer an amazing route map for innovation. Almost every country has signed up to them. They provide a clear direction of policy, of technology investment and citizen participation. And ultimately, we firmly believe that sustainability will be a driver of new growth and of new revenue. It offers a new lens of efficiency and cost reduction. It offers a new way to manage new types of risks across your business. And it offers an opportunity for you to differentiate in the market where investors, consumers, cargo owners are increasingly factoring these issues into their decision-making. This is an exciting time. It's an important time for this agenda, but this is the decade of delivery, and it is your chance to step up and play your role. Thank you very much.